Hello, everybody. F5 Gabe here, and welcome back to another album review. Today we'll be looking at That Texas Technician, except there's no that because it's actually That Mexican OT. And this was recommended to me by my English teacher, so please don't take this into account for my grade.
Yeah, this album isn't really my favorite. Let's go ahead and get into why. The first track, 2299, is a really good intro. The chorus is great. I didn't pick up on any insane bars, but I feel like the lyrics presented in the second verse paint a very sort of noticeable and predictable picture. I also really like That Mexican OT's flow. It's very creative and goes well with the beat, and at times it's almost slurred, but it's in a way where you can still kind of understand what he's saying. And the production, beat here, amazing. He's very good with the production and flow throughout this entire album. Starting at the point, Better Watch Your Mouth on Point 'em Out, the end of this first verse is very creative as it incorporates a lot of cool English to Spanish language transitions and makes a lot of interesting connections like Swim with Killers just like an orchestra. DaBaby's verse was very weak, in my opinion. Just kind of a bad thug verse. There's even one point where he rhymed the word I can't say with itself and her with itself in a 4-line stanza. Like, dude, you can't just repeatedly rhyme the same word with itself. This song has a good beat and overall a pretty good track, but it's kind of fight music and I'm not a big fan of, which you could probably have told with my last one. Chicken Strips and Booty has another great beat slash production, and I feel That Mexican OT's flow really shines in some places here. While a few times, like towards the end of verse 1, his lyrics get kind of indistinguishable and slurred. I'd say that if the DaBaby's verse from last track is considered bad thug music, then this is considered good thug music. While he does repeat some 3 lines in this verse for some reason, doesn't really make sense, he has a few once again interesting bars like this horse part. Verse 2 with Paul Wall, it's fine. I did find it silly when he had that whole top boy model part. That line kind of feels like when you're about to make a joke in a very short amount of time and kind of just blurt it out in front of all your friends and they just look at you really weird and they're like, that just wasn't funny. Bull Riding is a great track. I feel like every verse here, even the features, really do a great job. And the chorus here is fire. Like, a low-key made me vibe in my chair. But, like, seriously, even though the lyrics here don't really present much other than, the same old, the rhyme schemes and flows of everyone, except for maybe the last guy, are pretty great. It also kind of concerns me just how great That Mexican OT is about making bars about drugs. Somebody might need to send help. The only thing saving, alcohol name that I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say on YouTube is its beat and Mexican OT's flow. Once again, the chorus here is really goofy and the lyrics are kind of just same old, same old. I kind of feel the same way about Function too, another goofy song that kind of doesn't really mean anything. Crooked Officer was better. I feel like he does kind of talk about same old here, but I think he gets a lot more creative lyrically, like with the line about hitting a home run instead of going first base. I also really like the beat here, yet once again, I think the feature was not great. At the end of that last track, and the beginning of this one, Glocks and Hammers, I was beginning to think he was cooking up some sort of story. And then he just went back to his normal lyrics, and to be honest, even the chorus on this track doesn't really shine. Twisting Fingers is nice. It goes back to good thug music instead of just songs about, and both That Mexican OT's verse and the feature are pretty good. OT gets really creative flow-wise in how he uses the flow to his advantage on the verse. For example, the icy line, Cadillac and T-Pain part are all said really fast to try to make you see what he said, and then he goes into a very detailed, slower rhyme scheme with the limo line, making sure to pronounce it nice and slow. Gotta be honest, Hola is a lot of fun. While I didn't like the feature too much, once again, Mexican OT's flow gets really creative with his lyricism and flow in order to make an effective party song, also matching well with the beat. This seems like the kind of song I would imagine playing in a club. Not that I would know. Muchas Gracias is the closer to the album. He shouts out his haters, his fans, his blank dealer, and his grandma. I do think the beat here is decent, but maybe it could have been slightly sadder for the lyrics. He also gives some interesting reasons for some of his behaviors, like how he's about to have a baby and that's why he's drinking. I think this is a good closer, except for the fact that this whole album really isn't like this. Like, if this whole album I would have preferred this. Was filled with stories about his friends and family and hood experiences instead of a bunch of half-baked lyrics about sex, which this could just have been so much better. Like, if this guy comes back with like a storytelling type album, he could make an amazing album. But this is just not that. And this closer is making it seem like this album was. Overall, I don't really like this album. The inconsistent message, lack of storytelling, and overall not great bars and bad features make this project not my favorite. The first 4 tracks got me really hyped for the rest of the album, but after hearing the rest, they kind of felt like bait. Part of the first half of the album really does sort of paint a picture of Texas, at least, bull riding and chicken strips, talking about the South and border problems. But in the second half, he just throws it out the window for a bunch of meaningless lyrics about the same thing. The real message of this album, if you know what I mean. After all of this said, though, I do think That Mexican OT has a lot of potential, and I think most easily, out of all the rappers featured on this project, he is the best. He's the most creative, can really work a flow, has a very distinct way of speaking that sets him apart, and can produce some great beats, the true positives of this album. I think that if he takes some more time and writes stories about his experiences in the hood and what it's really like out there, he can make a great album, definitely worth listening to, with his amazing flow and amazing production. And overall, I'm thinking a 4.5 on this project. Anyways, sorry English teacher, but thanks so much to all you guys for watching. Please leave more album reviews down below that you want me to do. And please click right here for some more album reviews. Click here for my new Terraria videos, and click here to subscribe, because we are only at 187 out of 500 subscribers, which I want before the end of the year. So, see ya. Thanks for watching.